going on, everybody? Matt Besachio here for WMCT-TV and WMCT Sports, and welcome to the first episode of the Marlborough Shamrocks podcast. We're going to be bringing this podcast series to you over the course of the summer as we follow the 2022 season for the Shamrocks, back-to-back champions. The flow of the show we're going to bring in guests. We're going to get to know them a little bit. We'll look back on the game that was. We'll look ahead to the game that they'll be playing the next week. So without further ado, let's introduce our guests. We've got the offensive coordinator for the Shamrocks, Harrison Ingels. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. And we've got the defensive coordinator for the Shamrocks, Mike Harpin. Welcome.
Evening.
So we'll start off with you, Harrison. Talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with coaching and how that led you to become the OC for the Shamrocks.
Yeah, so my first opportunity with coaching was actually in 2014. A teammate of mine, Dave Buchanan, was the head coach at Quabbin. And he gave me the opportunity to coach the offensive line. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from him, you know, the process, the grind that goes into high school. The following year, I begged him to let me be the offensive coordinator because I've always had a fascination with that chess match and how much fun it is. And he gave me the opportunity, and, you know, we did some amazing things. We won a league championship. You know, we set some scoring records. It was so much fun, and, you know, it was such a huge opportunity for me to kind of learn how to coach the game. And then Chambers gave me the opportunity to coach the offense. 2017 and 18 with the Fury, then obviously we became the Shamrocks, and from there it's been continued success. You know, with the championships, it's so much fun.
Yeah. Could you have ever saw yourself back when you first started coaching and helping out, being here in this moment now?
Yeah, I mean, I think competitively, everyone thinks they're gonna win and have that success. So it's a lot easier when you do it, and it's it's easy with the hindsight. But, you know, I'd like to think that having the confidence and putting that type of work into what you do will ultimately lead to the successes that you want.
Absolutely. Now, being an offensive coordinator or coach involves educating and teaching, and that's something that you do on the outside as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm a sixth grade English teacher at Abbey Kelly in Worcester. It's a charter school. And since, you know, seventh grade, my high school teacher, Mr. Buckley, I knew I wanted to teach. You know, my mother was going to teach. He was a big influence in my life. You know, the late Tim Merritt, my 12th grade English teacher, huge influences in my life. I wanted to coach and teach since seventh grade, so I'm fortunate enough to, you know, be living that dream.
That's cool. Now, more stressful situation, unruly 12-year-olds or late game situation, you got to come up with a big play.
Man, I got to go with the 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
they're ruthless.
Yeah,
they're ruthless.
Yeah. And I mean, kids nowadays are more and more exposed to so much and having the internet. And I can't imagine what it is as a teacher nowadays. I'm sure there's kids that walk around with phones, and you have to deal with that whole thing, where educators from the past never had to deal with stuff like that.
You know, our school is really good with that, surprisingly.
Oh, really? Good.
I maybe took 3 cell phones last year.
Oh, sweet.
They're very good with it. I think it's more of an issue in the high school.
Oh, okay.
But I'll go 12-year-olds. They're quick-witted, and they can get on your nerves pretty quickly.
Nice.
So,
all right. Well, Mike, you're Marlborough through and through. You grew up here in Marlborough. You played youth football. You played for the Panthers, the Shamrocks. Now you coach. Just tell me what it's like for you to now come full circle to be a coach for the Shamrocks.
It's full circle, and I think when we get the guys to the field, there's something that, you know, they're all there to play the game. They're all feeling like it's, you know, their team, and that we have had a lot of success. But part of the thing I think I bring to it is like that historical end of it. Dan's in his first, you just finished your first year teaching, right? Full time?
yes.
Okay, full time. First year teaching full time, and I just finished my 31st. So you're talking opposite ends of the spectrum here on where we're at.
Yeah, sure.
So for me, coming into Kelleher Field is someplace that, you know, at 7 and 8 years old, you grow up there and you try to impress upon these guys. Our first game as a Shamrock, because I wasn't with the Fury, I just came on when Chris Chambers, our owner, rebranded the program. You try telling these guys, like, you're not going to have a crowd like you have in Marlborough. And all the way to our national game this past year, we have more people on the road traveling with us than the home team usually has. And that's 100%. A statement of the people in town and how much, the community really loves football, but they love the success and the history of the Shamrocks, that we have a lot of veterans there, that guys that have played, when they were very successful over time. And our first year, they were in the stands, and they had no problem coming down and addressing some of our guys. But that's not how we do it here. So it's been an interesting thing like that, and our guys bought in, and then as a result, the crowd loves, they know the characters, they know the people, everybody knows who Slime is, number 10, you know what I mean? They know who Blake is, and the kids, it's just like when you were growing up, these kids look up to our players almost like they're professional players. They come over, they want to get signatures and that kind of thing. We have a bevy of kids at home that want to be water people, boys and girls that want to run out in the field and be with the guys. So it's really, for me, it's been a really rewarding experience. It's a semi-pro, but no one's getting paid. So what are you getting out of it? Relationships with other coaches and our players, and getting to reconnect with Marlborough, really.
Yeah, you're providing such a value to the community, a sense of pride. I remember when I first came here to WMCT about 6-7 years ago, and past generations of employees before would tell us about the Shamrocks games and how cool they were. Yeah. And all I could sit back and think was, man, if only they would come back. And then you did. Yeah. And then I got to see firsthand the outpouring of support and how those stands are packed.
We had about 1,500 people our very first game. We kept telling, because there's one, Pat Caruso, has been with the Shamrocks on and off for years. The OG, he is
Silver Fox.
And he kept telling the guys, he's like, Harpin's not blowing smoke here. I'm telling you. And then when they pulled in, and they're like, whoa! It was the biggest crowd they'd ever played in front of for semi-pro games, which is
easily,
which is one of the reasons why Chambers moved the team. He just wanted somebody to appreciate his team more than he was getting in Worcester.
Yeah, it's just really great to see the kind of support that you guys get. You provide a great product on the field, and I've been able to go and cover road games, and I see the lack of support that these other teams get.
Yeah.
Not only do they not have the player turnout, they have a roster that's maybe like 20 deep, where you guys have a roster that's like 55, 60 deep. You have a depth chart that's probably about 5-6 players deep at each position.
Last year our defense had 22 guys that could have started anywhere in the league. We had 2 full defenses that you could have taken either one of them and gone and brought them to any other team in the league, and they would have been glad to have them.
Similar sentiment on offense. We watched film last night and had 27 guys. That's enough for both sides of the ball. Just for one side, the turnout is wild.
It is. But going back to support and the success that you've had over the past couple of years, that type of culture will start to breed expectations from the community and pressure. And now, you as coaches, and especially you, Mike, you've been in Marlborough your whole life. Does being a coach for the Shamrocks, does that weigh on you? Is there any type of pressure that you feel to carry on the tradition of what you knew?
I don't want to speak for Harry, but I think we're on the same page here. I'm telling you, there is nobody that puts more pressure on us than us. And that includes any of the veterans, that includes any of our players. Chambers doesn't put any pressure on us.
Yeah,
he's very hands.
He's so supportive.
He's so supportive, and he's
such a positive guy.
You know what I mean? Honestly, we put more pressure on us than I think anybody else does. The expectations in Marlborough. Having grown up here, it's of course we expect the Shamrocks to win, not just win and be good, but win league titles. And in our case, we had an opportunity the last 2 years to win national championships.
Yeah, and I can tell from the little bling you got there.
Yeah, a little bit of bling.
Very nice.
Nice. You don't get to wear these too often. So this is our back-to-back championship for the league last year.
Is that what weigh your hand down at all?
Thankfully, yes.
Wow, that is. Sorry if the microphone peaked there. That is intense.
But when you think about these, and we've got 4 of them now, and you've got a couple from Fury.
Yeah,
it's not like this Fury team rolled in and all of a sudden, because they were Shamrocks, they were good. We're blessed to have really, really good players.
The foundation had been set for years before we came to Marlborough, and the culture here has just been so different and focused since we've been here that it's been nice, like Mike said, to win 2 leagues and 2 national championships. Those expectations we put on ourselves, I think it takes a special type of group to not become complacent with winning one or winning two. And, the guys are they're chomping at the bit to try and get the third one. It's been a tough week with the game we just had too.
Right. And we usually have defensive film on Wednesday nights because we have practice Thursday evening, so there's carryover. And then there's this captain's meeting essentially on Friday. There's back and forth on things that went well at Thursday nights. There's a process that goes into it. We don't just show up. These guys don't just show up and play. There's a process for both sides that go into it. But our guys were so itchy that they called their own meeting on Monday night to get film down. So when we got to it last night, they had already digested a lot of it, and it was more, nitpicky little things. And, hey, how's this going to set us up for this week and what's going on this week? But these guys, there's no complacency because we have some new people that have come in to add in. That part of it is, some of them have moved or their teams have moved on or they heard, because these guys talk and they've heard, like, what's it like on the Shamrocks? Is it, because from the outside, it's like we show up, we win games, and hey, but no, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of expectation, and there's a certain, hey, we've got guys on our defensive side this past week. We got a couple of guys that started where they were on other teams and were pretty good, and they didn't play it down. Now, that's not by design, but
it just goes to show the depth that you have.
We have the depth, and you're new here. Like, are you willing to play special teams at a high level? Because we've probably got the best punter in the country at this level.
Max is just incredible.
Shout out to Max.
Yeah,
it's worth it to pause and say what Max does for this organization. It's so, by myself when I was younger, I was someone that overlooked the special teams aspect and importance and significance, and
he turns it. He's my best friend. He turns it around.
Unbelievable.
It doesn't matter where the offense, they score, they don't. We kick. If he's punting, they're pinned. If he's kicking off, they're pinned.
Oh, even the last defensive possession that you had, or the last offensive possession you had last game, he had to punt from 8-9 yards in the end zone, and he kicked and he gave them the ball at the 45.
Yeah,
now, that's good field position, but considering where he had to kick it from, that's a hell of a kick.
Punt. It's even his scouting report. His scouting report for the next week is posted Monday morning.
Right.
We get the film Saturday night real late or Sunday morning, and then Sunday or Monday morning he's got special team scouting report. Here's what we need to do, and he's up there. He posts up regularly. Hey, I'm kicking on Tuesday. I'm kicking on Wednesday.
Jordan Lobby, long snapper, both extra points and punts. Like the whole process that goes into that. Those guys get together separate, and Max will coach our punt return guys on the side about essentially the dynamics of the ball, how it's coming down, what it's going to be like tonight. If it's a right-footed kicker, how to play that.
What a resource.
It's really from a coaching standpoint. One of the things that I love is the Shamrocks. We get to coach at a higher level as far as scheme and that type of stuff. But it comes down to being able to get all your stuff and get the players on point with it in one night together, film, and then a bunch of social media.
Adam does a really good job making sure the specials guys are locked in and focused too, because that's something that gets overlooked a lot.
They've won
Specials, they
games for
think
us.
they can just throw in any guys, and Adam and Max collaborate very well and make sure that we have the best 11 controlling that third of the game.
Right.
Well, special teams obviously plays a crucial role in any game. It played an especially crucial role in last week's game. Last week, first game of the season in your title defense. You lose on the road in Bridgewater, 14-13.
Yep.
You have the lead, the lion's share of the game, pretty much the entire game up until the very end, where the Admirals go on a 57-yard, 12-play drive. They score on the 3. We'll start off with you, Mike, with the defense. The defense overall played well. 30,000-foot view down. You don't give up a ton of yards. You obviously only give up the 2 scores. One of them's on that big 65-yard pass play, then the last drive. What are your general impressions of your group's effort in Week 1?
I think the biggest thing we have to improve on is just playing with more confidence, which sounds funny coming off of 2 national championships. But we're replacing some really, really important people. Lamar Edmonds and Asante.
Easter.
Thank you. Sorry, Asante. Our 2 safeties from the last couple of years. they're like having two coaches in the field. They played at a high level. Lamar was a Division I player. I mean, there was a lot of confidence that they exuded. And, you know, now you got to find other people to pick up that slack. So it's to me, it's more about confidence. Like, just kind of, not to sound conceited, but like, we're the best team on this field tonight. You have to beat us, and we don't want to beat ourselves. If it comes down to us holding the line at the -3, that's what we got to do, and we didn't do it. So we didn't really do our jobs 100%.
Now, I mean, it's week 1 of the season. We were talking before the interview where you guys didn't have an opportunity to really scrimmage anybody and get those simulated game reps under your belt. So when you're at the end of a game and your defense has been on the field as long as they had in that last drive, is it really almost like a matter of being gassed, or like is that part of it come into play as well?
I think, I mean, still gonna. Our old line plays. You know, they rotate some guys, but those are 300-pound men playing out there. Our starting old line when we got them all together. There's no real room for being gassed. I mean, the other team's gassed. Sure. You know, everybody's on the same page. I mean, nobody's doing this full time. It's not like they're conditioning every day. These guys take care, and our guys are pretty good about it. They're in good shape, but there's game shape. And if we can't get, and Harry could probably talk more to this than I can, you can't get scrimmages prior to the thing. That was like our scrimmage. That was our opening salvo. And, you know, overall, you take a moral victory, but the standard is we should have won the game.
Right. Well, I mean, you guys have won 90% of your games over the last 2 seasons, so I'm sure to start 0-1 isn't something that you were anticipating for sure. Harry, talking about the offense, a little bit more struggles on that side of the ball than necessarily like the defense. I think you guys had 5 total turnovers. Blake accounted for 4 of them with 3 picks and that lost fumble. You know, is that rust? Is it the addition of new players? What would you say was probably the main culprit as to why you guys didn't reach your ceiling there in week 1?
Man, I mean, I don't like to play it just feels like excuses. You know, we got to play better.
Yeah.
We got to play better. That's not indicative of the work that we put in, the expectations that we have for ourselves. I could sit here and say, "Oh, it's rust. We didn't have preseason." I don't like doing that. I think that there are a lot of, you know, factors that play a part, but at the end of the day, we need to execute better, and there's no excuse for 5 turnovers in a game. I know, you know, Blake was very upset. The whole offense was. We were all very frustrated. The defense was rightfully frustrated because, you know, when you hold the team to 2 scores, you know, especially 1 score for 99% of the game, we had plenty of opportunities to widen the score, turn the ball over twice in the red zone. You know, I know the defense and Mike, you know, they preach togetherness, but the offense, you know, was not satisfied and not happy with our performance, and we know we let them down. So there was a lot of work that went into it. You know, meetings on Monday, practice Tuesday, film Wednesday, practice tonight. So
sorry to interrupt, but so tonight you're gonna leave this interview. You're gonna head down to Marlborough High. You're gonna practice. What's the message? Like, what's the message to the team overall heading into this next game?
Intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We need to come out with the confidence that we've shown the past 2 years, and, you know, who gives a damn who we're playing? Come out, foot down, play aggressive. You know, it shouldn't matter. You know, if we're playing the Patriots, we should come out with that confidence, like we can run our stuff, play with more intensity, play with more passion, and score. We need to score. We need to execute. We need to focus on every play. That's the only message.
So what we said is in the expectation, like, we expect to win. And the only way to do that is what Harry's saying. Like, you got to come out and you got to have almost a chip on our shoulder.
So it was a humbling week 1, humbling interaction with our teammates that we let down. And I'm happy with how they've responded with the focus, but that focus needs to translate tonight in practice and Saturday night in our game.
Yeah, right. And sometimes taking an L early in the season isn't the worst thing in the world, as far as making sure that you can, you know, I mean, you don't want to hear that. It's probably you want to win every single game. But the silver lining of something like that is it can readjust the focus of guys that maybe weren't as into it as they should have been.
We lost last year, week 7.
Yep.
And then our first year, we lost our opener versus Maine on the road. You know, so
Yeah.
There is learning from a loss, but it's a tough pill to swallow when
sure.
you know the responsibility falls so heavily on you.
Yeah. Well, you guys have the game this Saturday, which, shameless plug, you can watch live here on WMCT-TV at 7
in.
p.m.
Do it.
June 25th. You can hear me calling the play-by-play, and our crew is going to be down there covering it live. But you have that game against the Brockton Bucs. They're coming off a real tough loss. They got beat down by Mill City 39-0. So the casual observer looks at box scores. You see that, like, oh, rollover win for the Shamrocks. You guys see the game differently. How do you view this game coming up on Saturday?
We can't look at who we're playing. We need to look at ourselves and how we play, how we execute. The level of intensity that we come out with is what needs to be the focus here. I mean, it can't be, it's a team that didn't score last week and didn't stop the other team. It has to be focused on us executing at a higher level. It's that simple. We got to come out intense.
Yeah. It's really, every week should be about us getting better, not so much the other team. We had a great opponent for our first game, and it was the kind of thing. It was humbling. You did learn some things, and you get one good thing about playing against somebody like that is that you can get really nitty gritty on technique and keys and those types of things. But ultimately, it's like I said earlier, it's that confidence. Like I want our guys walking into Kelleher Field like there's nobody beating us at home. They're not going to beat us at home. And when we get somebody down, even 7-0, we should start. Honestly, it's like blood in the water. We got to come after them, and that confidence to blitz and to literally attack somebody is something that, like I said, I need to see a little more of it from our guys. They were almost, and it's going to sound terrible, they're almost too nice during the game. Like, hey, good job helping up the other guy. And we're not looking for dirty play, but like get lined up, get ready to knock them down again, not glad hand everybody.
Sure. I mean,
it's a certain attitude that on the field that's how you need to play. And it's honestly, we've always played a brand of intimidation football. We can grind it on offense if we want and then hit you with a quick strike, and all of a sudden, Graham's in the end zone and or Blake's picking up
Mr. Marlborough.
There you go, Mr. Marlborough, right.
That's right.
There's
gonna be a statue of him someday.
He needs to be on this show.
Yeah,
we'll get him on here.
Graham has to be on this show.
He's been on before.
Come on, Graham.
There you go,
Graham.
buddy.
That's it. Let's get Graham out here.
That's it, man.
Well,
that's I'm just saying, it's like we should be competing against ourselves, and there's a certain amount of confidence and physicality, intensity that we didn't have
for 4 quarters,
right,
making
and
sure
start that way,
not
not ease into it. Like,
and these teams that you're playing, they know who you are. They know that you've won all these games.
Every team we play, we're their championship.
Right.
We were in the team huddle after the Admirals game, and again, they're a great team, but we were kind of to ourselves, we could hear them behind us celebrating so loud and screaming and cheering, and we just got to use that as motivation going into the next game, where it has to be this mentality to just steamroll and execute every play to the height of our ability. And the guys seem ready to do it. I fully expect tonight to be a very intense practice between the offense and defense to challenge each other going into Saturday.
I fully anticipate your level of play being risen. I fully anticipate those stands being packed and your supporters being out there in their green and making tons of noise. And again, you can see that game live here on WMCT-TV. We're going to be live streaming it to our program. That's Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 4, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. We've got your coverage all summer for the home games. Harry, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everything that you've said. It was a really fun time. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Shamrocks.
You're very welcome. All right, Matt Besachio here in the WMCT studios. Have a good time. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.